Today is Tuesday. It is June 16th. And the chickens are 18 weeks old. Last week we got an egg, one egg, and we haven't gotten another one since then. These big hens are bullies. They won't let the babies come out and get any mealworms. There's a couple of our babies out on the nesting box. Show you why we have to have the babies in a separate little enclosure for their food, and that's because even their food is behind that wire you can see in there. The hens will still go and stand at the edge of it and try to get in to get to their food. They're kind of ridiculous. This lady just jumped up onto my lap. Hey, this box, there's mealworms all over the ground for you. Yeah. I see you. No, you can't have these. Yeah, go away. You're a pig. Gandalf the Grey has taken to the roof this morning. Just a few more mealworms for you guys. This is Cinnamon, and that is Silver. And Cinnamon and Silver had an adventure this past week. They both decided to roost in that window overnight. And we found them the next morning wedged between the wire and the window on the side that doesn't move. So we had to cut the wire off and get them out. We're just very thankful that both of them are okay. Brought that chair out to sit in, but I don't think they're going to allow me to just sit and watch them today. They've been kind of silly since I came out here. It was cool this morning. They are making a lot of noise across the road. New construction. We're getting used to the sound of trucks. Like I said, they're bullies. I put some mealworms in here for the little ones, and as soon as I opened the door again, they decided to come in and eat them all. So here is our strawberry spinach there on the left, and then the 3 butterfly pea flowers. This is my chia plant, and honestly I don't know if chia just forms seed pods or if it flowers. These 2 sunflower plants are getting closer to a flower head from what it looks like. Getting tall. This sunflower isn't quite as tall as the others, and this one I think has the most shade, and so it is the smallest of the 4. I've left this one broccoli romanesco plant in, but I think it's going to come out soon. I really don't believe it's going to give anything, and so I'll be taking it out this week. You can see, however, that I've planted in a few more things. Back here I've got a tomato plant, one of the suckers I pulled off another plant. I'm going to let it work up the back of this trellis here because the peas are just about done. I have popped in several Autumn Beauty sunflowers in the corners of some of my beds, and this is one of them. Here where I pulled out the broccoli, in the back of the bed I put in a couple of okra plants. It's that there. And in the front I popped in a couple of scallop squash plants. So that's one there. The other one there. My kohlrabi are still going strong and actually getting bigger. Let's see if we can get in there on that one. So hopefully I'll have some nice big bulbs to harvest soon. Here are a few more tomato plants I put in here where I pulled out the lettuce. So I've got 4 altogether. Kale's kind of blocking this one. I am going to harvest the rest of this kale this week and probably blanch and freeze it. Definitely the dwarf Siberian, the green kale. I may just harvest this and see if it still produces anything on the scarlet kale, because it still looks so healthy. It doesn't appear to be trying to bolt. The dwarf Siberian just seems to not be producing anymore after I cut it off, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and just harvest those plants completely. My echinacea is looking good. Normally I show you the acorn squash from the inside of the trellis. However, it is so big and beautiful here from this side, but I also want to zoom in and let you see some of the first fruit there that I'm getting. There's a acorn squash growing right there, and then you can see lots of blossoms on the inside. So these are 3 very productive plants. So I'm looking forward to a big harvest off of these. My Atome watermelon plants have really taken off. This one's starting to vine and go up the trellis. And there are the others there. You can see that the acorn squash is encroaching on the walkway here. But I've been cutting off some of the bigger leaves to keep it from shading each other's plant out on this side and keep a lot of nice airflow in there. And noodle beans on this side are growing. They're not huge. That is my Armenian white cucumber. And this is the bait alpha cucumber. It's really taken off this week. These 2 are my Chicago pickling cucumbers. My snap peas are petering out. Petering out, that's funny. I didn't mean to do that. So I'm actually gonna be pulling these plants soon. They just aren't setting any new fruit anymore. And then when I take them out, I'm probably gonna put in a couple more pickling cucumber plants on this side. And then, like I said, I'll use the trellis to help me with that tomato plant there, just to be able to tie it up as it grows. The pea plants on this side of the trellis are still growing and producing. I've picked a few pea pods off of this tall telephone, but I think I'm probably mainly going to let the rest of the pods dry so I can save the seed and just plant more of that particular plant seed next year, since it did so well here. My cucamelons are really vining out and growing. This one here is actually grabbed onto the trellis, so it should start going up soon. I have not seen any fruit set yet, but that should be coming quickly. My noodle beans on this side of the trellis are going gangbusters and starting to send off their vines. I just saw this one, it's new, so give it a little encouragement, but they wrap quickly up the trellis. That one's gone quite a ways up. I'll see if you can see it. It's reached to there and setting off new leaves along the way. So once those actually grab the trellis and start climbing, my understanding is that they really take off. So looking forward to seeing those cover this trellis shortly. I know I mentioned it last week, but it's still growing, that golden midget melon. I thought all of those died out here, and that one has just been growing leaps and bounds, so it somehow survived. I'll have to remember to save seeds from this one. My Kajari melon, I only had one plant survive, but it is doing well, and you can see it's climbing up here. If you can differentiate it from the beets behind it, this one's gone all the way up here, and it kind of forked out and went off over here. Beet area is full and lush, and I haven't seen a lot of bulbing again on the golden beets. They just, I don't know what we're gonna get out of those, but these red beets have definitely bulbed up for the most part. The cylinder beets, I don't know what you can see here, but there's some beets in there, so looking forward to harvesting those soon. I feel like it was just last week that I said the flower section of my garden looked really empty. It doesn't anymore. So let's take a look at this. Back here, these are my salvia plants, and you can see that they are shooting up flower stalks. They have bushed out a lot, and I see now why it said they needed a solid foot of space on their own. At first I thought the seed packet was crazy, but they have really spread out, and so I'm excited about that. It's interesting, this one, the leaves are so much darker and bigger, and these two are not the same kind of leaves. So it's interesting, they all came from the same seed packet. My zinnias here are doing well, and you can see that they're close to setting off a flower head on each of them. The milkweed is still alive, but slow back there. My chives are very much fuller, I should say. And then this bee balm has also gotten enormous. No flowers yet on it. The turnip greens just keep getting bigger, and I'll take you in there and see if we can find some turnips. I don't know if you guys can see the turnips bulbing out of the ground or not. Alright, just so you can see the progress of these seed pods. Try to bring them close. See if it'll focus. Lots and lots of them. Just waiting for them to dry on the plant and turn brown, and then I'll be harvesting those for seeds. My little bush bean bags here. This one that's climbing is the cannellini beans. And then those two are the navy beans, and I've not seen any actual beans set on those. I'm sorry, those aren't navy beans, those are black beans. The zucchini are filling out, taking off. I've had a lot of blossoms. So far they've all been male flowers, so I haven't had any actual fruit set yet. But zucchini are doing well. We're very close to getting fruit off of those. You can see I added a couple of cages to my herb pool because the chamomile flowers are so tall that they were going crazy and falling all over the place. You can see some flowers on there. I have been pulling them as they flower. The more you pick, the more flowers you'll get, and I'm drying them for chamomile tea. Sage is doing well. You can see the oregano in the background there. Thyme and rosemary. The strawberries have pretty well petered off at this point. There's just a few. The the front kind, the Ozark Beauties here along the front have stopped producing. I do see one alpine strawberry ripening back in the back. See if you can see that. Oops. Right there. Bush beans, these are the bush green beans here. And the bush navy beans here. Let's see, my garlic looks pretty sad. I pulled a few bulbs. They're still pretty small. I pulled them because they were starting to fall over like that. I'm going to give them another week or two, see if they get any bigger. The trick is I don't want them to rot before I get to them. The fingerling potato flowers are gone now, so it won't be too long before we're harvesting those. And the other potatoes. Here are my sweet potato plants, and you can see how beautiful and full those leaves are getting. And then between those, I planted 2 suckers from the Brad's Atomic Grape tomato plants. Try to get them going here. Let them grow up while the sweet potatoes grow out. On the tour of the tomatoes today, I think I'll take you along and show you the fruit set more than anything else. The 2 triple crop plants do not have a lot of fruit set yet, although you can see some blossoms here. But I think the only fruit I see on these plants is very tiny yet. So here's some Abe Lincoln tomatoes. Look at that Amana blossom there. It's huge. First Dr. Witchy tomatoes. It's that Bonnie Best tomato plant, and that's what happens when a tomato plant just wants to do what it wants to do. Still not sure if that one's coming out or not. This Paul Robeson is glorious. There's a Black Beauty tomato in there. It's a little tiny Black Beauty tomato. These Black Elephant are putting off a ton of fruit. That is what happens when you don't catch a fasciated blossom, which is a bunch of blossoms fused together. Get a very cat-faced tomato. Right here in the corner is another one of the Autumn Beauty sunflowers I popped in near the okra. On this side we have our 6 okra plants, actually 8 now. 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 and 8 here in the middle. You can also get a better view of that Abe Lincoln tomato from back here. Thinking I'm probably going to be pulling out the Brussels sprouts soon. Brussels sprouts take forever, but they are just not fruiting, and you can see massive bug pressure here. I think it would be better to just pull out these plants and start them again in the fall. It's interesting, like this plant back here has no bug pressure whatsoever, and this one here, it's so interesting. The plants can be right next to each other, and some will be just riddled with holes and some won't have any. But the ones that don't have any still aren't producing any Brussels sprouts. So I'm going to pull these out this week and give this space to something else. I'm going to show the peppers from this end this week. Right here in front, the 2 jalapenos, and then this row of 4 is the King of the North, and this row of 4 is the orange bell peppers. And I have had a few little fruit set. Let's see if we can show you one. Some little baby peppers in there. We got our nasturtiums and marigolds really going strong up here up front. My ground cherries are just getting huge, and you can see those pretty little lanterns under there. They look just like Chinese lanterns, and they are all over underneath these leaves. Got some weeds growing in there, but you can also see where I harvested my celery this week. and dehydrated it for use in soups and stuff. It may try to grow a bit from there, but I'm probably going to just pull those out before it gets a chance to and plant something else in this area. Cabbage is the same as the Brussels sprouts. This one here has just been eaten alive. That one back there doesn't look too bad, but I don't think either one is actually going to head up. My one early Wakefield that was different, I thought was going to get away without the bugs this time, but it doesn't look like it. This is a cauliflower, as are the 4 in the back. And then this one, but again, probably coming out this week because seeing no signs of cauliflower and it should be done already. A couple more tomato plants stuck in here so that I can get some more out of the tomatoes. And while I'm here, I'm just going to show you some of the tomatoes from the back. Look at that. Okay, so my camera battery died there last time, but let's get back to showing the tomatoes. There is the Amish paste. That's one of the plants. The other plant has got some. This is the German lunchbox, and this is the one I was showing you from the other side. It has got a lot of fruit set on it. A lot of nice looking salad-sized tomatoes on that one. This is a Chadwick cherry. A lot of fruit on that as well. Just about to reach the top of the trellis. My black cherry is above the trellis right now. Also has a lot of fruit set on it. And there's some more over here. Oh, this leaf is in the way. Another black cherry. There's some fruit down here. Alright, these two are the yellow pear, and you can tell by looking at the fruit on these that they are yellow pear. Not the yellow part, but the pear shape is definitely showing up even from its earliest stages. I love these blueberries tomatoes. Both of the plants have fruit on them, but I love how you can see the blue shoulders on the tomatoes even before they've even begun to turn ripe. This is the Brad's Atomic Grape that I put in from a sucker, so it's taken off big. It does have some blooms on it, but no fruit yet. However, the original plant does have several tomatoes set on it, and you can see the grape shape. You can also see some of the striping on there. This will be a kind of a multicolored striped tomato, but lots of fruit on there. Carrots, I pulled a couple to see if they were anywhere close to being ready, and I got a couple little tiny ones, but I'm going to leave them in the ground a while longer. My hosta is still trying to open up some flowers. Show you one of the garlic I pulled. You can see how small the bulb is, and so that's why I'm leaving the rest of them in there. Here I've got just a few more tomato suckers that I'm trying to root so they can be planted. Still have some greens in the little salad box. Not really sure if this dinosaur kale is going to do anything. The green stalk is loaded with greens. You can see the tiny Tim tomatoes starting to set fruit there. The beans are taking off. The other side, you can see the other tiny Tim. Oh, look, there's some good sized tomatoes on this one. Just waiting to turn red. Look at the size of that one solitary beet. I'm kind of in my own light there. That's a good sized beet there. I'll be pulling that out soon. Again, a few more things waiting to go in the ground. Same things that have been here, nothing really new. My cayenne pepper plant has not set any flowers or fruit yet. This is the only, well, this and then this lilac here, which has set some flowers, are the only two plants I bought as plants this year. Everything else was started from seed. My radishes, I'm not expecting really to get any radishes out of this, although I will say that these icicle radishes, the white icicle radishes, seem to be bulbing up, so I may actually get those. Haven't seen anything bulbing on these watermelon radishes, and I didn't get any from the last planting either. This is another row of the white icicle, and you can see this is the younger set, and they are also bulbing, so I may actually get to harvest the white icicle. These that have gone to seed, I was letting them set their seed pods, and you can see how fat these get. What's neat about these is you can actually eat these and they taste like radishes, only a little less spicy, so they're kind of nice if you don't like the spice of radishes. But well, this one's got a lot of seed pods that just haven't bulbed up yet. They bulb up like this. You can eat them at this stage if you want. I had one this morning. It was actually very good. But then they dry out and you can keep the seeds that way. But some of them, like these plants here, something ate the tops off of them. I don't know. So I'm not sure how many seed pods I'll even get. So that's kind of frustrating. Then these lettuces that I chopped across the top, they're all growing back. So that's good. I might actually get a little bit more baby greens out of this. And the kale seems to have just stopped growing, to be honest. This stuff up here's had some bug pressure, definitely, on the dwarf Siberian. I cut my dill finally last week, so it's only as tall as the fence this week. It has put out some new sprouts. This one's set a flower. This one's got new growth coming out there, and there's some new growth coming there, so that's good. I got a dehydrator for my birthday and Mother's Day, and that's what I wanted. And I've been using it almost daily to dry either herbs or my chamomile and stuff like that. The cumin is just about all dried out, and I still don't know what I'm looking for on it. I don't know if I'm looking for these for the seed pods or if they grow differently, so I need to study that. I should have studied that a bit more before I planted it. Parsley still looking good. My sweet Genovese basil actually probably need to top this or it's going to start setting the flower. I don't want this one to set a flower because I want to keep pulling from it. And my purple basil looks beautiful. I did let one of these Thai basil plant stalks go to flower. It's beautiful. Smells so good over here. The cinnamon basil, I've been trying to keep the flowers pulled off of so it'll keep producing leaves. And I've dehydrated some of it. The holy basil, I'm actually using more for its pollinator attractions. Pollinators really love those flowers, so I'm really letting it flower. It looks so pretty. The blackberry flowers are falling away, but plant seems to be doing good. It is too hot right here to do anything about it right now, but this poor Swiss chard needs some water. Some collards and a Swiss chard. Some ruby Swiss chard. These are doing pretty good despite the attempts of the bindweed to choke them out. Now for this bed with my never-ending struggle with the grass, take a look at our honeydew growing. That one's getting to be a good size. This one's still pretty small. And this one's the smallest one. This is probably the one that spends the most time in the sun, but it's the smallest of the honeydew plants. Then I've got the two sugar pie pumpkins. That one's really branching out down there. Sugar baby bush watermelon there. The blah-hilled pole beans down here are still looking pretty sad. These pole beans are growing and starting to flower. No beans that I see yet. This one's nice and tall. Going up and across the top of the trellis there. Still am not seeing any baby beans. Another nice tall one. Again, these are the Good Mother Stallard beans for canning. And then the rest of these are the black beans. You can see the little purple blossoms on these plants. Those on the end are reaching above. Look at how beautiful these Blue Lake pole bean plants are. They're just full of buds and blossoms. Nice healthy looking plants despite all the grass pressure. Some more of these before I show you the squash and beans. These are the old homestead pole beans, also setting a lot of blossoms. So you can get in closer on those. And then the blah-hilled beans up here. Such pretty stems and beautiful blossoms. And here we have our spaghetti squash. This is the smallest plant. Hopefully they really fill in soon because I keep pulling this grass, but I know I'm a broken record. But you can see how long, like that one is going all the way up there. And then this particular plant has actually branched off in both directions. So here's the center of this plant, and it goes out that way and then out that way. So these are nice and starting to ramble, and that's what I was wanting up here, something to cover the ground to choke out these weeds. These are my decorative gourd plants here and here. Look across this way at the pumpkin plants. Trying to grow butternuts, but they're just not getting bigger. You can see that one there. It's just, it doesn't look like it's grown at all. I hope I'm getting these because it's so dark out, bright out here. It's hard for me to see this screen. Those are the Jack B. Little pumpkins. And just another view of the big pumpkin plants out here. Look at this one, starts here and then spreads all the way down there. That one's kind of leaning against the trellis, so I'm going to keep an eye on that. I don't really want it to try to climb because I believe that's a big pumpkin. This is spreading that way, which is good. So again, just hoping these start to ramble and fill all of this area that always fills with grass. Well, that was quite an adventure, losing my battery in the middle of the filming. I hope the filming all turned out okay because I'm using a camera today instead of my phone, so I appreciate you watching. I should be actually harvesting quite a bit in the next week or so, and it's fun watching the garden change from spring to summer, pulling out all those spring greens and getting in all the things that are going to provide the summer fruit. Thanks for watching.